Hello, everybody, and welcome to Confessions of a Market Maker live, our first live podcast we're doing here from BTC Miami. And I'm with none other than Steve, aka Beyond the Trades, my partner at Equities ETC with me and JJ, the man behind the scenes, does great work. Steve, how's it going?
Hey Ray, man, thank you so much for having me. So
Yeah.
I like to keep a more of a low profile behind the scenes. So I'm not one of these younger type of guys, but thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No, well, you do a lot of great stuff behind the scenes. I don't think people realize even just putting this podcast together was your idea, putting me to JJ together, helping get with guests, etc. And I've learned a lot trading from you, myself, and my own strategies. And we want to bring you to the forefront. How's the trip been so far?
Well, let me tell you what, I've been in my corporate career prior to trading to hundreds of conferences. And that's not a joke, okay? Also been to trading conferences, but I can honestly say the energy here in Miami with the Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency crowd I've never seen anything like it before.
Yeah.
And what was really nice to see, there was some older folks. It wasn't just young adults. There were some older folks that are embracing the concept and the technology, and I saw that they're being very exciting.
So. Yeah. Well, what about the energy really set this apart? Like you said, I know you've had a really good corporate career. You've been to a lot of those conferences. You've been to a lot of trading conferences before the pandemic happened. What was the different vibe that you got from here?
Well, that's a very good question. I've noticed, and this is no knock on business conferences or existing trading conferences. In fact, I'm going to the Money Show Trading Conference next weekend in Orlando. What I notice is a lot of trading conferences and business conferences focus on the money aspect, the financial aspects.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay, making connections. How can this benefit me? Not so much in a selfish way, but maybe in a joint win-win way where we both can make money.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what these conferences are: networking, seeing old friends, making new friends. What I noticed in this Bitcoin Miami conference was it was a totally different vibe.
Mm-hmm.
These folks, sure, they want to make money, but their mission is totally different. All right. They're behind a cause, and the number one point of this course, and we could talk about it later if you want, isn't necessarily let's make money today on this, but let's use this technology to create better lives for our future. They want to be part of something bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
And you see that in the energy. You see that with the rah-rahness. You see that with some of the quirky things that were going on at the convention. And what was really good to see is there are some bright, intelligent folks behind it. And I'm not just talking about the young adults. All right, there are some brilliant young adults there. There are also some that are just there to find out what the next meme coin is going to be. I'm not talking about that. All right, they will come, they will go, just like the internet came, and the internet went for many individuals and many companies back in the late 90s. But there are some sharp individuals working on some sharp projects that can change the lives of so many people.
Yeah.
And as far as the older folks that are embracing it, they're using their experience, they're using their wisdom, they're using their business savvy, all right, to really get behind this movement and to encourage folks like yourself, okay, and others to let them know that you're on the right track to whatever you may be doing. So I don't know if that answered that question. It's different.
Yeah, no, it didn't. And I think a lot of us get that sense is like you mentioned, and I think that's the exciting part about crypto. It's like, are we traders and do we like making money? Yeah, we do. But this is also, like you said, being part of something that's bigger than ourselves is a big, draw, I think, to this whole thing. So you sat in on a lot of the speakers. Anyone stand out? What were some of the takeaways you took?
I would say, I did. I did sit in with a lot of the speakers, actually spoke to a lot of individuals. I would just say three presentations really struck me. And I'll start with the one that I thought probably was the biggest impact on me was listening to the gamification of Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really taken back by that. Gamification is such a loosely held term, but in this day and age, everything is becoming, whether it be via esports, whether it be video games, Mario Kart, whether it be sports, online betting, fantasy sports, DraftKings, Bitcoin's getting actively involved, okay, as rewards. All right, and I'll give you an example. One of the video games, I don't want to say Mario Kart, Super Mario
It's
Kart.
Mario Kart
I
like.
could be,
Yeah,
I
it's
could
Mario
be
Kart
wrong,
like. Yeah.
but they have something what's called Satoshis. And one of the goals of this video game is for them to acquire more Satoshis. And
Yeah.
everyone that's really passionate about this game, and I know nothing about this game, so I'm no expert, but everyone who's passionate about this game, I'm being told, wants to collect Satoshis. They don't even realize that Satoshis are fractional Bitcoin, that they are actually acquiring the good players Bitcoin by simply playing a game. And that how video games are going to bring more people into Bitcoin, the awareness of Bitcoin. We could talk later about what that really means. And it's just going to explode. See, a lot of people don't realize, they think Bitcoin, and I'll call you, the ignorant folks that just think Bitcoin is a scam simply don't know about Bitcoin. Whether Bitcoin goes to the moon or Bitcoin goes to zero is not the point. All right, to call something a scam is just very easy and boring to do. All right, it takes no
It's lazy.
thinking.
Yeah, it's lazy.
It's
Yeah,
just lazy thinking, especially when you know nothing about it. All right, now why do people do that? Okay, in my opinion, as well as other people's opinions, most of the folks doing it are the older folks. The more established, might be traders, might be business professionals. They're more established in life. They're more well off, financially secure in life. And the reason why, an example, if I use myself, had a successful business career. I do pretty well trading for myself. I run various businesses, the trading room at microefutures.com, equitiesetc.com. Shout out to all the members out there listening. Love you guys. It's not in my interest to change the status quo.
Yeah.
It's not in my interest for Bitcoin technology or cryptocurrency technology to be successful. It's not in my interest for the dollar to possibly collapse.
Yeah.
And we have a new digital currency, which, by the way, everyone at the conference said would not happen for 10 to 20 years until after the next few halvings of Bitcoin takes place. But let's keep things just as it is, because I'm making money, you're not.
Right.
Okay? And I'm just using you as an example, the younger generation. So a lot of folks will just dismiss it without even looking into it.
Yeah.
And I thought, you're speaking to me about the presentations. Another presentation that really stuck out to me was Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy. Threw all the cash on the balance sheet of his company into Bitcoin. Now people are like, oh, Michael Saylor is an idiot, what he's doing. They're thinking Michael Saylor is putting every asset that MicroStrategy has into Bitcoin. No, folks, there are cash that is profits from his company, a very successful company, by the way, that he's running. Instead of it sitting in cash, collecting 1-2% interest, whatever he might be collecting it, he decided to put into it long-term assets. It's money that's not needed to run his company. It's just money because he believes in Bitcoin. And what does he believe? Okay? Right now, if you're a trader, and most folks listening to this are a trader, you hear everyone saying, oh, Fed Powell's printing money left and right. True. All right. There is so much money out there. True. The only thing keeping the stock market up is the Fed, is the government printing money. True. Oh, this is all going to collapse. We're going to have the biggest bear market. It's going to happen. Well, if they could keep printing money, it might not happen, right? They're just going to keep printing money.
Yeah.
But let's say it does happen, right? The dollar, the value of the dollar, and you even see it now, inflation started to increase. The cost of goods in our everyday lives are starting to increase. The Fed is manipulating the dollar, the price of the dollar, and it's affecting human beings. It might not affect me if the price of milk goes up or the price of diapers go up.
Yeah.
It might not affect me personally, but it will affect that young single mom that has 2-3 kids.
Yeah.
Right? It will affect those people that live in low-income housing. Right? So the government trying to prop up Wall Street so all of us that are in the industry can profit from it, ultimately affects a lot of lower income people. And eventually it could affect us. I'm no expert on any of this. Take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But what Michael Saylor was trying to explain, how does Bitcoin solve that? You can't manipulate Bitcoin. Now, I'm not talking about people buying a bunch of Bitcoins and dumping it and buying it again,
Yeah.
load and taking out stock. I'm not talking about that. That sort of trading, people call it manipulation. I call it rules of engagement. If you're allowed to do it, you're allowed to do it.
Yeah.
All right. If you got a problem with it, don't be in the industry if
Right.
your opponents are doing that to you. No, what I'm talking about manipulation is the government.
Right.
The government manipulating the dollar, okay, or manipulating just the economy in general, that will affect. You can't do that with Bitcoin.
Right.
So should everything collapse, the dollar?
Yeah.
Should we have another major recession, all right, and the dollar goes down, the price of Bitcoin is still going to be what you're willing to pay for it, what I'm willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
You own it. It's something that is yours.
Yeah.
All right. So this idea of having a digital currency, although it won't happen soon, a lot of people saying 10, 15, 20 years, it's just inevitable.
Yeah.
And there is so much passion and steam in the community behind Bitcoin, it's going to be very hard for someone to knock it off. An example, and then I'll let you ask the next question. Think of Walmart. Walmart is so powerful as a retailer.
Mhm.
Amazon is so powerful as a retailer. You can own a mom and pop store, provide better customer service, cheaper prices, better qualities and goods. But guess what? You're never going to compete with Wall Street. And I kind of see Bitcoin the same way. It's getting so big and powerful and a whole movement behind it. A movement where people are willing to die financially because they believe in it. That makes them dangerous. They have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So I say this is I don't necessarily see another digital currency coming that's going to knock off Bitcoin. And I know I rambled on
Yeah.
that. So
No, that was great. You brought up a lot of great points. And this is something that I've seen people on Twitter, at least past couple of days or yesterday, really knocking some of the presenters. I forget who it was, but the passion and people are like, oh, like because we talk about all the time with trading is like, okay, you don't want to be emotional, but this is another step to the whole point that you're talking about. This is not the trading lens. This is to better humankind, to better society. And while we were talking on that, us being down here in Miami, we've interviewed Suarez here on this podcast before. Him embracing cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, do you see this becoming a trend within politicians? I think that's something very brave that he did, very contrarian. That it could have really not. Voters could have not liked it. This could really hurt his reelection, which it's not. Like it's really helping him. What's your aspect as far as like it being accepted by the government and politicians?
well, I think I think let's face it. First of all, I like the mayor.
Yeah.
All right. I've spoken with the deputy commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That works very closely with the mayor here in Miami. They're very passionate about it. They're very smart about it. He wants Miami to become the technical center. I want the Silicon Valley of the East.
Yeah.
All right. And why wouldn't you want this,
Why
right?
wouldn't you? Yeah.
I mean, yes, you don't have the wine vineyards that you have out there in the San Francisco Valley area, but I don't know if the viewers can see the beautiful background of palm trees and water here in Miami and the high rise. We're in Brickell. I always say that name wrong.
Brickell.
Is it
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay,
Brickell.
so. Yeah, my daughter picks on me a lot of times. I call it Bricknell. So, but Brickell, which a lot of people call the Wall Street of the South, and it's become very big. So we're actually in the business district right here, right now, interviewing here in that area. But to answer your question, politicians want to be reelected.
Mm-hmm.
Now that sounds horrible. It's making it sound like the politicians are bad just for that reason. No, it's their jobs. It makes good sense.
Yeah.
Folks like myself in their 50s and 40s, right? What do we have? Maybe 10 more years left in the business world, 20 more years left, 30 years to even live on this face of the earth. So the younger generation, your generation, folks in their 40s, 30s, and 20s, all right, that's the population. It's a different mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, laugh at them, dismiss them all you want. Okay, the reality is they are the future. And I think when you have a vision like the mayor of Miami that sees that, understands technology is a play, the marriage of both of them is just a natural win. Now, he's not going crazy, right? He's not bankrupt in Miami, rolling the dice and putting all of Miami's future in Bitcoin, all right? That's not happening. Just like Michael Saylor is not risking all of MicroStrategy's future, or Elon Musk when he bought all of that Tesla, the Bitcoin on the Tesla balance sheet.
Yeah.
Ask me about Elon Musk.
Sure.
I want to give my opinion. If I was on the board of director of Tesla right now, so,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
won't rant because I own some shares of Tesla. I probably will, but remind me. See, I'm
Bring it
getting
up
off topic here.
on the
You can kind of sense
miscellaneous.
I'm getting a little. The Italian New York is coming out with me a little bit there. So, but no, I just think it's good business. I think you'll see more and more of it, based on the success of the folks that are embracing it.
Yeah. All right. Now, conversely, we talked about your strengths. What was maybe your weaknesses, or what's something that you really have to be on alert for in yourself as a trader?
Probably boredom.
Yeah, boredom
Yeah,
trading.
I would probably say boredom. I think what helps a lot, as for day trading, obviously swing trading, I'm doing more and more swing trading now.
Yeah.
Because personally, I feel that there's been some opportunities out there with some of the tech
Yes.
stocks bottoming out. You saw a lot of tech stock growth stocks moving into value stocks,
Yeah.
not into cash. Okay, moving
Right.
into value stocks. Now you're starting slowly to see value stocks coming back to a certain select amount of tech stocks. So I'm starting to pick up some good swing trades at the bottom to run them up. I was very successful doing that right after COVID, when COVID crashed. Okay, I managed to jump in a lot of the hospitality, even the airlines and cruises right after that
You
March
nailed
closure.
them. You nailed
Right,
them.
and they ran up to like June, was ridiculous. And then I also did a Penn. Penn was a great example. I got Penn at $12 after it was recommended to me at $6. I thought I was buying Penn at $12 on FOMO. Okay, the thing ran from $12 to $100. I'm still in it. I think it's traded somewhere in the 80s right now. But I would say the weakness is boredom, especially on the day trading aspect. Sometimes there'll just simply be no reason for me to trade,
Yeah.
and I'll see a trade that meets my setup criteria in my playbook, as I mentioned before. So it's a trade, but then I'll forget that, well, part of that strategy is a SPY has to be trended along with it.
Yeah.
Okay? That boredom will have me lose focus, and I'll see the setup, I'll see the play, but I won't check the SPY at that time.
Yeah.
And then I enter the trade, I notice the SPY is doing the opposite, and then the trade will get stopped.
You know what? Because we trade together all the time, like every day. You're really good at knowing when you do it. Like you recognize it when you make a boredom trade right away. You're like, oh, like this was a boredom trade. Like, and you're quick. I think your awareness is very on point. Where I think a lot of times people aren't even cognizant of their mistakes. And that's a big point. Now, how does one get to that point? I don't know. I think that's a lot of off, maybe away from the markets type of studying or reading, etc. And we don't have to go down that path. But
No, but that's all true, right? Obviously, I worked on the mental aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Jared Kendall, I know Dr. Brett Steenberger. I studied their work. I mean, we can go 9 yards in that.
Yeah.
I've also had just experience, right, over in life. I liken it to driving, where as a brand new driver, you drive on the freeway for the first time. You're like, your hands are on the steering wheel, right? You don't see everything that's coming at you, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. But when you're driving for 20 years, you're on the freeway, you're not even looking,
That
but
makes
you'll catch any little thing that happens. A car
Right,
moving, even though you're not really paying attention, you catch the same way no one went to enter a trade, when not to. So when a boredom puts me in a trade, I'm not supposed to be in it. One, I call myself out on it. You guys see me do that.
You do.
All right. I let people know that even if this trade turns green, all right, I effed up on it. I'm not feeling good about it. And just to go back to what you said about some of my strengths, and I failed to mention it, I take very small stops. I keep my stops
Small
very
losses, yeah, you do, yeah. No, you're
Very
disciplined,
small
yeah,
losses,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
If a trade's not working for me and my thesis is proven wrong, I'm out.
Yeah.
But it was said to me a long time ago. Now pay attention, because I say this to people, and I'm talking to the audience now. I say this to people, and they look at me like I got 3 heads. Money lost buys the same amount as money won. Okay? Money lost. So don't let that trade go on you. If that money you're losing buys just as much as that money you're making a profitable trade. So I don't know if that makes sense.
No, makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. No, great stuff. Got a few miscellaneous questions. We'll wrap this up. You have a great website, Beyond the Trades, where you conduct written interviews. Why don't you just tell the audience a little bit about it?
BeyondTheTrades.com, and the whole premises of BeyondTheTrades.com, there was a book called Tribe of Mentors by Tim Ferriss.
Yeah, great book.
Tim Ferriss interviewed a wide range of people and asked them questions about their industries, specialty, as well as just random questions. Beyond the Trades does just that. I'm looking to go beyond the trade. I'm
Right.
not looking to know what the individual strategy is. I'm looking to see what makes them tick, both in trading and also outside of trading. So it's a really fun interviews and not that long. Might take 5 minutes to read, and we interview a wide range of individuals, not just high successful professional traders. We do some, and all walks of life. Okay, so go to beyondthetrades.com. We're always looking for interesting individuals to interview. I know I have a bunch coming from this crypto conference, and who knows, we might have a sumo wrestler, all right, at a Bitcoin conference as a future Beyond the Trades interview.
I love it. I love it. Oh, that's great. Can't wait. Can't wait for that one. Oh, awesome. Florida gets a bad rap a lot of times in the national media. You, as long as you know, as well as myself, live down here in Florida. Tell people why you choose to live here.
Well, it's funny. I grew up, born in the Bronx, New York. I grew up on Long Island. Lived 32 years of my life there. Wound up moving to Virginia with my company, right outside Washington, D.C. So really the Washington, D.C. area. When my company was sold, I was too young to retire. I always loved Florida because I did a lot of business down in Florida. So I decided to move down here. The weather, how can you knock the weather? How can you knock the water? I mean, the Florida lifestyle. Yes, there are some crazy stuff that happens in Florida, but usually it's in the middle part of Florida.
Yeah, not where we are. Not
Yeah, usually, the two
North,
coasts,
north.
you're okay. Okay, so
Yeah.
you know, yes, there has been like the last alligator attack. Okay, people are like, well, what about alligator attack? Last alligator attack, guy got drunk and decided that he was going to ride an alligator at an alligator farm.
Yeah.
So he jumped the fence, started riding the alligator. So you do get some folks like that, but to be honest with you, if I'm going to go out partying, that's probably the dude I want to go out partying with. But that's just me.
Yeah. That's here nor there. Yeah, that's funny. That's great. No, I love Florida too. I can't beat it. What's something that you've learned about yourself during the pandemic?
That when I isolate, now I'm being serious, guys.
Mhm.
When I isolate, I go to a bad place. Okay, I think I won't go into my whole history. I will share it out there for folks that might be having the same problems. I do have a very addictive personality. I have used drugs. I have used alcohol early in my career. Got help for it in 12-step programs. I feel when I isolate myself, okay, like I did in the pandemic, a lot of things would get to me. I'd be more edgy. I'd be more anxious. It would affect the people around me. Also had something very serious happen in my personal life with my sister and my family member. So I think what I've learned for myself is if I don't do the work to take care of Steve mentally, okay, and spiritually, because I'm a man of faith, okay, if I don't do that, it affects everything around me. It affects my trading. It affects my business projects. It affects my personal relationships. So I need to make sure I'm taking care of myself emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. Okay. And really just to do the next right thing. But to come out to this conference, I texted my wife last night. I felt like I was home again. I was out with people, doing what I needed to do. Because when you're trading, we're isolated. Yeah, we're part of a great community. I don't know what it would want to do with a community. I mean, lifelong friends with the folks at equitiesetc.com and microefutures.com. If it wasn't for those folks out there, who knows what I'd be doing right now. So.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. No, I think that goes for anyone, really. I think if you isolate, it's so easy for us to all get trapped in our own heads, our own ways of thinking. I just appreciate you sharing that with the audience.
And just one other thing I want to share with out there, because I know trading does attract the degenerates. Let me tell you, my God, some of you traders are degenerates. I mean, my God, you guys will
not in a good way, not in an endearing way neither.
Well, you got the endearing way, you got the true degenerates, because you want to have someone that's aggressive in trading with good risk management skills. I call that a good degen, but then you have just degens that people will just bet on two cockroaches that are crossing the street. You know what I'm saying? Oh, AMC, let me go in AMC. I have nothing wrong with going in AMC GME if you have a thesis behind it.
Sure,
You're
sure.
playing this, you're playing that, but I'm just going into it because so and so made all this money,
Yeah,
and you just degenerate. There's no strategy, no thesis behind it. I'm not saying don't play them. I'm
yeah,
just
yeah,
saying, what's your concept behind it? But yeah, there are a lot of degenerates out there. So what I meant by that is a lot of folks have different
yeah,
personalities. And so if anyone's out there struggling with that, go to beyondthetrades.com and DM me or DM Ray
awesome.
if you ever want to speak. I mean that sincerely. I mean that sincerely. If anyone's having any issues out there, feel free to reach out to me.
Awesome, awesome. Betting on two cockroaches across the street. Now I know
The
this.
answer to that question, the ones with the longer legs.
The ones with the longer legs. He's already
Win
thinking.
all the time.
It makes me
If
think.
you're going to degen,
Yeah.
degen with a strategic strategy
Right.
behind it.
Well, let me ask you this, because makes me think. Because I know you like prop betting and just any form of gambling. And I remember you sharing with me that you and a buddy of yours used to sit either on the porch or the backyard, and you guys would bet on what was the next airline that would fly over the house.
Yeah.
Do you want to share on that, and like what was your strategy on picking airlines?
Well, I think it was really, really funny. All right, I actually saw that from Kramer one time. Was in a Seinfeld area. He was in the lounge, the airport lounge, and he was betting a guy on which plane would land.
I never saw that one. That's great.
So my buddy Dave from Long Island, Dave, ever since I got sober, Dave, you never call me anymore.
Come on, Dave.
True
Switch it up.
DJs. So true DJs. But the point, I'm only kidding, Dave. The only thing, so we would be sitting out drinking Coronas out back, right?
Yeah.
Coronas with the lime, not lemon, right?
Yeah.
We have a case of them, and we lived right by Washington Dulles Airport.
Mm-hmm.
So the planes would come over us. So we'd be sitting there drinking, and then we just take out a few dollar bills and okay, which airline would come over next? Which airline would come over next?
I love it.
The strategy behind that.
Yeah.
But he was just as smart as me when it came to that, so he did the same strategy.
Uh-huh.
What hub? So Washington Dulles, which airline was hub based out of?
Sure.
Was more of their planes would come in. But to answer your question, we had that. If you're going to do any type of advantage gambling, be the house.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone thinks gambling means you're just reckless. Right? But a casino gambles against the player.
Yeah.
But the casino has an edge.
Yeah.
So, an advantage gambler, and let's face it, the stock market is the biggest casino in the world. So if you're not trading with an edge, or if you think you have an edge, now you're a sucker.
Yeah.
Okay? An edge is knowing that you have a statistical math edge. And how you find that out is a topic for another podcast. Yes, back testing can help to that. Other things can help to that.
Yeah.
But the professional traders that are making money have that edge.
Yeah, we're advantage gambling. Yeah. And I think people don't. I mean, I feel like I always talk about this on the podcast. I'm not to beat a dead horse, but we was talking to our friend in Monterey. Shout out to Cisco again. And we had a great conversation last night about, and this is what I enjoyed about him. It's he's like, hey, I placed a bet on Fubo, or I placed a bet here, and I could already tell the way he's talking about it is he's talking in terms of bets. Hey, I'm placing bets, and I think viewing trading as quote unquote gambling, but as advantage gambling, I think it's useful. At least it is, and maybe this would just be my bias. The poker, the sports betting, etc., all that background. But I think it is. I think people don't look at it in those terms, and I think it can be beneficial once that's like internalized.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I played a little bit of poker back during the poker boom while I was working. I trade. If I did not have an edge, I wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah,
it's just simply wouldn't be doing this.
Right.
I do not go to a casino to play.
Well, it's not fun, right?
Crap or roulette. I'll go and play poker because it's a chess match almost, and I feel like I possibly have an edge over my opponent. Same thing with the stock market. I'm not entering a trade. I could put my money elsewhere. Right?
Yeah. So let's play. Like I know, like we could go and like throw dice. That's fun. Like have fun at the casino. But like really, it's like
that's recreation.
It's recreation, right? But we know it's like there's no real fun. Like there's more fun in us in beating the game and in learning the strategy. And I think that's what it is. It's about loving the process.
And can I? And you bring up a really good point. Because I'm talking about being all serious with your trading, right? And understanding the technology, whether it be Bitcoin, crypto, or having a mathematical edge in trading. Let me make it perfectly clear, because there's a lot of old-time traders out there. There is nothing wrong with recreational stock trading. There is nothing wrong with the younger crowd. Instead of going out and getting wasted and spending $400 on booze,
Yeah.
alcohol, cocaine, strippers, hookers, whatever you might want to say, and then investing it or trading it for recreational purposes. If an AMC or GME goes to the moon, great. If not, they lose recreational money. There is nothing wrong with that. And why are people making fun of them? Okay. So if you just want to spend an evening trading crypto, day trading crypto at night,
Yeah.
instead of watching a movie, what is wrong with that, even if you lose? So I don't want to make it sound like you have to be dead serious and in a career to do it. So
Yeah.
for all of the young people just learning to use, and you're trading on those stupid apps, Robinhood, Webull. Don't even get me talking about Webull.
Don't get us
I mean,
started.
we had a deal with Webull, and he backed out those weasels. Okay, all right. So I won't say anything bad about them,
Yeah.
but when you have a gentleman's handshake and you backed out, see now I'm
We don't like
digressing
that.
here.
Yeah,
But what I'm getting at is there's nothing wrong with those folks
Absolutely.
having some fun on it. Now, would I use it? Would I trade it? Absolutely not, because only one reason. I'm micro focused on making money.
Yeah.
But if that was my way of having fun, why not?
There's nothing wrong with it. And it's like, don't, you know what I'm thinking? Don't scare the fish at the table, right? Be nice to them. Your money's welcome. You know, especially for us, if we're doing this for a living, we want people like this in the market. But like you said too, like if this is your form of recreation, hey, we might go spend X amount of money in Miami tonight, going to the club. You can do that trading crypto tonight.
And
It's
possibly
however
make
you-
money.
And possibly make money,
Possibly.
right? Like we're losing money. Like there's no.
So there's two,
you know,
there's two. We have to define, the two different areas. Just like we have to define the trader and then the long-term person that
Yeah.
believes in the vision of Bitcoin. It's like so many different verticals within the same financial industry
Yeah.
that sometimes people trying to make it all one, and it's really not. So,
All right, we got 5 minutes. We're gonna wrap it up.
Sure.
Real quick. You said you wanted to give your thoughts on Elon. Give it to us.
Oh, Elon Musk. Hey, listen. First of all, I was in Tesla, so I could be a little bit biased on it. Wasn't in much, but I did lose some money on Tesla. And I don't like losing money like everyone else does lose some money. He did put a lot of his cash of Tesla, all right, on the balance sheets, all right. He bashes Bitcoin occasionally. I understand that, but whether he believes it or not, it's not the point. The point is, if I'm sitting on the board of directors of Tesla, and my duties out on the board is to my shareholders, okay? And on the books, I have a lot of money involved in Bitcoin. I'm calling Elon Musk into that off and saying, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? Okay? By the price of Bitcoin coming down, it affects his shareholders, some who have a lot more shares of it than a day trader like myself or a short-term swing trader like myself. So I'm calling him in. Now, what people don't realize, they think, well, Elon Musk owns the company. He can do what he wants. No, Elon Musk is the CEO. The board of directors, like they did to Steve Jobs, can vote him off out of that CEO position. They'll never do that because that will tank the. He's a cult icon. They'll never do that. But the point what I'm trying to say, it makes no sense what he's doing.
Yeah.
In that sense. So but also he's a smart man. So is he doing it? Does it have something to do with these tax credits that Tesla actually receives?
Yeah.
Is he positioned himself if this Biden bill passes? I have no idea if it's going to pass or not. So does it have something where he's actually enabling Tesla to continue getting these credits? Because if you take away the credits and the profit he made on Bitcoin back when, Tesla's actually losing money, which everyone knows. So if these tax credits don't sustain going forward, what is their financial balance sheets going to look like? I don't know. I just play price action, right? I'm not smart enough to figure out, will the price go up, will the price go down long term on Tesla based on that. And I'll let the smarter people than I try and figure that out. And by the way, those smarter people than I are probably 50% right on stuff like that. Just play the price action. Brian Shannon, a good friend of ours in the podcast, will say, price action pays, baby.
Shout out to Brian. Yeah, I think I would stop hanging on all his words. If there's people out there, like the people just are like ride or die Elon Musk every single word he says. I don't know. It's a little ridiculous to me, but let's not jump down there. We have 1 minute. I wanted to ask you, because you've been plugging so many people on this podcast, you forgot to neglect who was the one who actually brought VeChain to your attention. the BET, the coin, the crypto coin.
Oh, geez, here we go. It was some guy called All Day Ray. It was Ray back in 2017. He's like, Steve, look into this technology. Look into the VCs that are put money into it. Look into the management team, which I think that will tell you if it's a good project or not. And look at the contracts they are signing. And it was Ray. I did buy myself. It was so cheap, 0.0005. Like it was like micro penny at the time. I bought myself a shitload of shares, and then it split 200 for one. So my shitload of shares became a ridiculous amount. Done nothing for 3 years, and now the baby is kind of moving on me. So thank you very much. Like I told you all along, I might give you some on Lambo.
Hey, there we go, Stevie.
It has to get to $3.
Heard it from the horse's mouth.
It has
Stevie.
to get to $3. No college, we get Lambo, man.
Yeah. We were talking last night to our boy. Shout out to Cisco from Monterey. Me, him, and Dan were talking about. It's really impressive. So for a gentleman like yourself, like Mark Cuban, Kevin O'Leary, who we spoke with a little bit yesterday, to fight that rigidness of the mind and to stay, because it's easier for someone like myself or like the younger generation to embrace these things for new technology, but not so much for someone like yourself. And it's just human nature, right? Like I'm sure when I get older, there'll be things of that same nature. What do you think it is that keeps you in tune, that keeps you adaptable, as like someone like Mark Cuban and them as well? What do you think it is?
Well, I think probably for myself, the biggest challenge I have is I really don't want to believe in Bitcoin. I don't want to believe in cryptocurrency. I don't want to believe in blockchain. So I'm not. I mean, I know I'm probably sounding like one of these cryptocurrency cult members out there. I'm really not. It's really not in my best interest to have to learn Bitcoin or to take the skills that I've learned trading, traditional trading market, and now have to learn how to invest long-term or short-term if I want to short-term trade cryptocurrency. It's not in my best interest. Why? Why would that be in my best interest, right? Let's leave everything status quo. Like I mentioned before, same thing with Bitcoin, right? Well, it's nothing, right? It's in thin air, which is kind of ridiculous. Pull out your credit card, right? Your credit card is a little card there. Well, but I got $5,000 on my credit card. Show me where you got $5,000. Well, it's tied into the cloud or into my bank. So come on, isn't it the same thing that we're talking about digitally? Mm-hmm. The only difference is it's all open source on Bitcoin, right? It's open for the world to see, all right? So you're not going to have the type of manipulation taking place that could be happening behind the scenes, all right? So, but to answer the question, I think for myself is, this is going to come off across me being a jerk, all right? And me being very as bragging. Okay, but I did put my dues in and worked 23 years in corporate. Mm-hmm. All right, I did very well. My company was sold. I was too young to retire. Decided to start trading. I always managed my own money. Loved it. Okay, and it keeps me busy. I've been doing it 10 years. First 2 years, lost money. I lost more money. I've done everything stupid that everyone listening on this podcast is doing. But the past 8 years have been somewhat successful. But the point, what I'm saying is trying to brag is sometimes I'll tell my wife will come home from work. She's a school teacher. Shout out to Ms. D. As well as shout out to my daughter, school teachers. Those are two jobs that are making an impact on people. But I would go, it's almost getting boring making money. We are in a bull market, okay? I mean, that's what I mean, being a prick, right? I mean, of course I take losses, but you understand what I'm saying. I mean, what I mean is what value, what good am I doing with that, right? Yeah. So with Bitcoin, all right, and let me explain what good you can do, right? Look what happens when a dollar collapses in some of these poorer countries across the country. Mm-hmm. Look at starvation's going in place. Look at the lower income. Look how it's really impacting these individuals, okay? Yeah. All right. If their currency at the time was a digital currency or Bitcoin that the government didn't have its hands involved in, would their lives be better? Yeah, and you have to understand what that really means. This podcast is too short to go into the details, but it does, so take the time. Take the time to learn the technology behind it and why that is true, why Bitcoin does make a difference, or digital currency makes a difference. I happen to think it will be Bitcoin. Others might think it's something else, so be it. I'm not here to debate that. I'm not an expert on any of this, just the basic concepts behind it. So it is having an impact. So,
Yeah.
so when a Mark Cuban and Kevin O'Leary are getting behind it, they're not only getting behind it financially because they think they can make money as a hedge
Right.
should the economy or the stock market and dollar collapse. They also, they have enough money in the world, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
You know, and us old guys also want to feel young again.
Yeah.
Coming to a Bitcoin conference here, I mean,
Yeah.
it's getting to the point that I don't know if I could roll a bun, you know, but you know, I almost want to roll a bun. Man bun, is that what you call it? You know, these old guys,
the man buns.
but it makes me feel young again. It gives me a passion.
Yeah,
right?
that's great.
You
It's
know?
like I'm talking to a different person. I haven't heard these. I mean, we trade every day together for years now, and it's just seeing the impact that this conference has had on you, from the point to it's like a higher cause here. It's really neat to see. It really is.
Well, you know, and again, a shout out to the folks over in Equities ETC and Micro E Futures, because back in December, we opened up a cryptocurrency channel in the room. Now, December with Bitcoin trading at $12,000.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
the point of it was, you talk about the passion. I was in that room and people were laughing at me. I was talking about this company, you know, this coin called VeChain Bet. Okay, and how they're very big on the blockchain, very big logistic wise, and they have large contracts in which they're testing out with 2 to 4 global auditing firms, as well as contracts with BMW, Volkswagen, Walmart. And what they're doing is able to track the shipment of any location. I mean, to use a very basic analogy, being able to track when you pick a tomato in Brazil all the way till it gets to the supermarket. I'm just using that as a silly example, but imagine doing that with any types of goods and services. But the point what I'm trying to get at with VeChain, all right, it's not Bitcoin, it's not digital currency, it's the blockchain technology.
Yeah.
That are going to change so many people's lives, whether it be logistics, whether it be smart contracts.
Yep.
Right. It's just going to be, and no manipulation is going to be able to take place because it's going to be open source. So people are going to be able to view this. And I was spouting this when VeChain was selling at like a half a penny. Half a penny, okay? And people were laughing at VeChain. I don't know what VeChain is up to right now today, but the point what I'm trying to get at is so much more behind Bitcoin. How can you not get excited? People don't see this excitement in me. They saw it when I was talking about VeChain in our crypto room. And let me tell you, we have some sharp cryptocurrency traders in our room that really teach folks.
Yeah.
But for trading, no. Why am I going to show passion in trading? I'm out there for one thing when I trade, and that is to make money, to play by the rules of engagement, not to blame other people, not to blame the market makers, the things, and, you know, well, they did this to me, they did that to me. My God, when I hear people say that to me, I'm like, you know, just give me your money. You're never going to make it as trading. I'll invest your money for you, or I'll donate it to charity. All right. But so when I'm trading, I am hyper laser focused, as most good traders are, and we come across as being very cutthroat. And also very not enthusiastic. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, I think you're breaking it down like beautifully. That it's like, hey, we can separate us as a trader, and then us at like, hey, like we really believe in this technology and just the goodness it could bring to society. I appreciate all of the crypto insights from the conference. You know, since we're having this as a live podcast, obviously I want to ask you some trading related questions too. Is there anything else like that stood out from the crypto conference that you want to tell the people?
Oh, absolutely. I have been to so many so many conferences over my life.
Yeah.
I never seen a sumo wrestling contest. I was at a business conference with the winner. There's 8 of them, so it was a round robin tournament.
Yeah.
These sumo wrestlers all battling for a grand prize of 1 Bitcoin. So I don't know what Bitcoin's selling today, 37,
like 38. Yeah,
I have no idea. But
I mean,
I'm like, but so they were going at it, meaning they were going at it for some prize money, and everyone hooting and hollering. I mean, I'm like, damn. You know, all I see at normal business trading conference, people hooting and hollering, is when they go to a bar and a pretty woman or a good-looking man would come in and start hooting and hollering. I'm like, this is totally different. And the next thing I noticed that was different, and it was good to see. All right, because I hate sometimes how women are treated. I really mean that. So at business conferences, you go to these booths and you see they're called booth babes.
Yeah.
You know, you see these women and they're being used. They're just to attract people to the room. It was so good to finally be at a conference Not that I was looking, but it's hard to not look at sumo wrestlers wearing thongs. Okay, so this conference actually had men in thongs, which I thought was very different. than normal.
Equal Opportunity Conference. Yeah, Equal Opportunity. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, it was. I saw the sumo wrestlers. I didn't get to watch all of it. I was too busy getting kicked out. I had a little scruffle with the backstage. I used the bathroom I wasn't supposed to use. But that's for another podcast. That's Confessions After Dark. We'll talk
You
about
guys
that.
gotta get him to tell this story. This is unbelievable. Probably a wife of a very famous person that Ray got himself in trouble with. So, and no, not that way. Not that way.
Not that way.
We'll let Ray discuss that.
We
on
wish
the
it. Yeah,
podcast.
yeah, yeah. But oh man, hey, we're having fun down here. All right, so Steve, like I said, I've learned a lot from you trading. You're the one who really got me into using trade ideas, which I think we both agree we wouldn't trade without it. Do you maybe give, I'm not saying give away the secret sauce of your strategies, but maybe just give people like a general overview of how you approach the market and you approach, your trading strategies?
Well, it's going to be a cliche answer, I think. I have macro vision with micro execution.
Yeah.
So what I mean by macro vision, it's very important for me to understand the macro feel of what's happening in the market, which direction the market might be going in. Is SPY going up today? Is SPY going down? Or if I should be in technology stocks, what are the Qs doing today? But with micro execution, especially day trading. So I'll day trade as well as swing trade, and they're completely different. So my strategies will be totally different. I think for me, and I have what's called a playbook. A lot of you probably are familiar with Mike Bellafiore's book called The Playbook. Shout out to Mike. Grew up in the same hometown as I did, Port Jefferson, Long Island. But what a playbook is really simple. Think of the analogy of a sports team. A football team, let's say. They'll have a playbook of plays they use in certain situations that have proven historically to be successful in that environment. Time, the distance, the down, are they up or behind in the game? So my trading is the same way. I have a playbook of successful, often back-tested strategies using the trade ideas software that I go to. So I don't trade stocks. I'm talking day trading now. I don't trade stocks. I trade setups. Setups that are in my playbook. So should a price action, of a particular stock meet the setup of one of my strategies in the playbook, I will consider taking the trade. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I consider myself a trend trader. I'm very strong in using EMAs and SMAs. And before anyone asks me, well, which ones do you use? Well, it depends on the stock, folks. Not every stock will run to the same EMA. That's why we back test, historically to see what a stock might be following historically. So I'm more of a trend trader, not just breakouts. I use the trade idea software to find some algorithmic software support areas, as well as my own knowledge of support and resistance trading over the years, to catch them when they bottomed out and are starting to reverse. And I tend to use that for my swing trading. And I'll use for swing trading, I know everyone uses the 50 to 200, the traditional longer term moving averages on swing traders. I like to use a shorter term average along with those two, because the shorter term averages gives me a snapshot of what the stock is doing today or this week. Right. Versus me saying, I have no idea if it's going to keep going up, or I have no idea if it's going to come back down to those averages.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm not obviously giving away secret sauce. You're going to have to come into the room. That's equitiesetc.com, and that is microdfutures.com. Sorry, guys, that's the business person in me. So
the plugs. No, the plugs just come out natural. Real smooth, good transitions. Yeah. Steve, what would you say your strengths are as a trader?
Without a doubt, it's my patience. It's without a doubt. I've been doing it. I think a lot of people talk about the emotional aspects of trading, right? We're our worst enemy, and trading will beat you to the pulp, and it will take you out to the backyard, and all your inner demons will come out. Yeah. And I'm sure that happens to some. I personally don't like getting beaten to a pulp. I personally don't like having all my demons come out. those first 2 years I traded, it did happen. Okay, I wasn't using automated software, so I think my strength was my patience.
Yeah.
But my understanding that in this day and age of 2021, automation is the key.
Yeah.
And if I'm using automation, and I choose to use Trade Ideas to backtest, you can use any sort of backtest automation if it meets your needs. I don't think there's any better out there than Trade Ideas.
Yeah.
But the answer further is it takes the emotion out for me. And plus I'm doing it so long, right?
Yeah.
To me, my life is not going to change at all in a trade or how I do today, even how I do 1 month. Okay. So I think my strength is more so my patience. And I don't buy into this fact that if you're a new trader, you're going to have to spend 5 years losing, or you're going to have to spend 2 years losing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all relative. How much time are you putting in? Are you using automation? Automation helps you. You're a perfect example, right? You're trading 2 years. I've seen you trade. All right. I've seen the growth in you as a trader, and you do have a professional poker background, so that helps with the risk management. But I honestly think that you using the automation has sped up your learning curve.
Sure.
You know, so it's like getting that type of assistance. It's almost like having a spotter in the gym.
Yeah.
Right. You're trying to lift a lot of weight. Right? You're not going to do it on your own.
Yeah.
And it's speeding up your learning curve. How does it speed up your learning curve? That spotter will make you stronger than you trying to do it all on your own. And it's the same way with trading. So I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, and I think just to expand on what I've observed as your strengths, I think your patience, absolutely, and I think your discipline, and to be more, I think, specific, your discipline with sticking to your strategies, your discipline to not worrying about what anyone else is trading, what anyone else is doing. And it's like it might be a cliche thing to say, but it's like really you only compete with yourself trading. It's not like, it doesn't matter what he, she, it's me versus myself. Am I continuing to make improvements? And I mean, for a while, like when I was starting off, I'm trying to find strategies that I want to do, right? And then once I really honed in on just like, you know what, let me find what I want to do and just stick to that, don't care what anyone else is doing, is when I think the ball really started rolling, because I learned my own strategies, the ins and outs of it. And I think like, yeah, you were an inspiration in that aspect, just blocking everything out and sticking to do what you do. Was that a hard thing for you to do at first? And how did you get to that point?
Well, that's a good question. And to answer the question, yes, it was. I found that for me, whenever I would change what was working for me, sometimes you get bored trading. I hate to say that. Sometimes you get bored.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Yeah. I'm making, let's say I'm losing or I'm winning, it really doesn't matter, but I might try different strategies because I see someone else is successful at that strategy, and they very well may be, and it very well may be a great strategy, but I found out it would get me off kilter. It would get me off track to what I did base. I needed to get back to my base. So it was told to me back then, never blindly follow anybody's trades, never blindly anybody's strategies. So if you're paying $3,000, $4,000, all right, for courses to learn to use a 1 minute chart, and when it does this, I go right, and when it does this, I go left. Guys, I mean, are you really, really that stupid? Okay, do you really believe the shit that's being sold to you? I don't mean to rant like this, but I mean, really, I want to smack you guys in the head, all right? Very few people, succeed at trading. I don't even think I'm good at it, so this isn't about me. You need, and this was said to me, you need to form your own strategies. Now, use what Ray might be doing, or use what that person that you paid $3,000 might be doing, and see, that fits my personality, and use bits and pieces of it. But what doesn't, don't force something. And now what you're doing is you're creating a playbook.
Yeah.
So when you're starting out, all right, see what works for you. Which trades have worked, and what did you do in that trade that made it work? And if you start seeing that same pattern over and over again, that goes into your playbook.
Yeah.
And it's not just for all market conditions. Note what the market conditions were for that day, that environment.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Next week, that play might not work for you, but you keep it in your playbook for the next time the market.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point. It's taking bits and pieces from different traders. I think it's like that's why I enjoy doing this podcast so much. Talking, like I take away so much from the conversations I have with people, and I'm like, oh, I like that approach. I'm gonna incorporate that into me. And it's like my trading style and strategies is just accumulation of all like my favorite traders, really, and then mixed in with how I see the market as well. And I think it's often an overlooked fact.
Well, I just want to, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Now, you interview on this podcast some of the best traders in the world, from Jeff Sway, unknown market wizard. I mean, put it this way, I'm going to pimple on their ass. Am I allowed to say that on this?
I think you've been saying worse, but yeah.
I'm going to pimple on, and again, I've been doing this really only 8 years, right, successfully, so I'm really nothing. But what I'm talking about, you've interviewed some really great traders that really have a great trading mindset.
Yeah.
Do they mimic other people's processes, or do they each have their own?
Right.
And some of them widely different.
Yeah, they do, right? I mean, you already know the answer. Yeah, they do. They all, I mean, you read the book. They all have their own ways. Now, but what you do find similarities though. There's just those core trading truths and principles in which we always talk to people, right? Like my approach in crypto, and like there's certain truths that are going to work in crypto, equities, futures, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, there's all the nuances to our own strategies.
One last thing here. I use the term macro vision, micro execution. You just described it perfectly.
Yeah.
They have macro vision, the same concepts, right? But micro execution, doing it differently.
Yeah. And that's going to conclude today's episode of Confessions of a Market Maker. Make sure you guys like the video, leave a comment, etc., all that good stuff. Steve, I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, bring them out from the
Can I give
dungeon.
a shout out? I want to give a shout out to the producer of Confession of a Market Maker, who got me fired from that position,
Fired.
Mr. Dan.
Yeah, fired. Come on,
Mr. Dan
stop.
Value Time. And what I mean by that is
Yeah.
Dan has taken this podcast off. No, you have to do that. You have to. It's okay for people to do well in a trade, and you got to be comfortable. It's the same way in life and in business. So
Yeah, shout out to
great
Dan.
job,
Doing
Dan.
good
So
stuff.
he's going to take this podcast for you and for JJ to new levels. Shout out to JJ, by the way.
Shout out to Jay.
And the new levels that you guys have
Sure.
noticed.
Yeah, well, this podcast, like I said at the beginning, this podcast would even been a thing if it wasn't for you as well. So we appreciate you and all the hard work. And like me and JJ said, we let him out the dungeon. Finally, we always joke in the room. He stayed behind the scenes. He's out now. It was a pleasure. Live from
It was
BTC
fun.
Miami.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks everybody.